Robbie Keane versus Martin O'Neill for the job, and reports that if Robbie Keane is to come to Celtic, he would want to bring Scott Brown and Johnny Hayes with him. What do you guys make of that?
Right, okay. Let me word this carefully. I've said for a while I'm not at all. I would not rush to rule Robbie Keane out of this. There's a lot of things that fit in terms of Dermot Desmond. He does like to draw on the sort of Irish connection. Robbie Keane, massive name. I think Dermot Desmond played a big role in getting him to Celtic as a loan player behind the scenes on that one. So the relationship is established. It would not surprise me in the slightest if it's not Martin O'Neill, that it's Robbie Keane. Where do I think it stands right now? I think that Martin O'Neill will be the man ultimately that decides if it's Martin O'Neill or Robbie Keane. What I would say about the stories that are circulating, and I know we're the other side of the big bond here, did manage to make a couple of calls this afternoon, kind of see if I could establish the lie of the land. As I said, picking my words carefully, what I would say is if Robbie Keane is pitching a package which includes himself, Scott Brown, Stephen Glass, Johnny Hayes, it would be my understanding that he's pitched that package without actually asking the guys if they would be up for it. And my cynicism tells me I find that unlikely. I think if you're going to go and say, this is my plan, this is what I propose, this is what the background team will look like, I think if you're going to have that conversation, you've got to have established beforehand that you've got a good chance that the guys that you're mentioning are ready, available, and would come at the drop of a hat. I'm not sure that that's been established. That's all I would say about that.
If it was though, Jacko, I mean, if that was pitched and that was potentially Celtic's new management team, would the fans be keen on that? Do you think? What would the reaction be? We know there's been a bit of a negative reaction towards Robbie Keane fairly recently.
So if you're Celtic or Dermot Desmond and you think, right, I want to appoint Robbie Keane, I know there's a bit of a problem with the fact that he worked in Israel, and that might further escalate tensions with a group of supporters who have been particularly difficult to deal with over a period. If they take an instant dislike to Robbie Keane, it becomes a stressful situation for all concerned, right? I don't know if it's a healthy one. I wonder if you think you're Dermot Desmond and you think you're being really clever, if you pitch the idea to him that, what if you bring in Scott Brown as your right-hand man? There's no way that the militant sections of Celtic support are going to be in open revolt against a management team which contains Scott Brown as the manager's right-hand man. So, is that the way? Is this how this is coming together? That Dermot Desmond is sitting down with him and saying, this is who I want you to have. But either way, at some point, if that is the case, they're going to have to actually broach it with the guys whose names appear to be being discussed.
Yeah. Paul in the comments says, as long as the new manager gets back correctly, anyone will be good enough. If it's Keane, he qualifies for the Champions League, a lot of people would change their mind. AGSC says Robbie Keane will be box office for the media, especially as at the Daily Record is fairly controversial. A couple of people as well agreeing with you, Keith, that it's Martin O'Neill's choice, really.
I think so.
Should be. Martin O'Neill should decide whether he wants to carry on or not. No, you've just won a domestic double, probably against the odds in terms of circumstances when he came in. The iconic status of the club. I think everyone would agree. If Martin O'Neill feels that he's got the hunger, the desire, energy to carry on and be manager, then why not? Why would you not explore that? Given what he's just achieved, and I think he deserves that respect, doesn't he? Not to go and make.
I think so.
Go and make that decision.
And I also think that it's almost compounded in a way by the fact that Martin O'Neill was quite enjoying not relaxing, but settling into the role first time round, and he was Oxford off the premises, and you could tell he wasn't particularly delighted about that, to make way for Wilfred Nancy. Now, they've done that to the guy once, and he came back regardless of getting treated like that. He came back regardless of the fact that the Celtic board did not equip him in the January sales when he was crying out for help. So, given that he's given so much over the space of the last 10 months, whatever it is, to Celtic, the very least that they can do is show the man a bit of respect. I really don't think it will go down well at all if they were to be the ones that made the decision here and said, Martin, thanks, but no thanks, you can move on now. I think that'd be well, I was going to say borderline insulting, but it's beyond the borderline.
It'd be a dangerous game if they do that, and then Martin O'Neill
Come out and said it.
says, listen, I was up for staying, I told them I had plans, this is what I was going to do, but they've decided to go down another road. I mean, I don't think that would get done too well.
And if they go down another road and that road then goes a similar direction that Wilfred Nonsi did, they've got serious trouble.
And a lot of pushback from Celtic fans in the comments to Robbie Keane. Sean says, if you think this season has been mental off the pitch with Celtic fans on the board, wait till you see it if Robbie Keane gets appointed. I think that sums up the feeling in the comments.
I don't know, I might be a million miles out. I said it already, Dan. I'm a little bit not confused. I'm not confused. I understand entirely what the problem is. I can't help but think that because a guy, to further his career, went to work in Israel for a bit, he's now seen as persona non grata. He should never be welcome back in the door at Celtic Park. Find that odd and difficult to justify. I don't want to get bogged down in the politics of it all. But do you know what I'm saying? And he also left that job. He wasn't running around claiming to be Benjamin Netanyahu. He was trying to do a job. So I'm a little bit depressed, saddened that is even coming into this and factoring in. And you just know it is, though. So it doesn't matter how I feel about it. I think what we do know is there will be an element of the Celtic support who will use that as a club to beat the board over the head with again.
And what that does is put Robbie Keane under
a really difficult
unnecessary pressure right at the very beginning.
Well, you saw it when the Celtic when the herd moved against Wilfred Nonsi, it became a very unpleasant position for him.
Same with Russell Martin at Rangers.
And for Russell Martin
at Rangers. Fans don't want you before you're even in.
They'll let you know.
Yeah,
and it can very quickly turn towards.
Yeah.